Hello, everyone. Good morning, even though if it's evening here now during my recording. Okay, so we were done with the previous module, no, wherein we spoke of or we were discussing of the different concepts of self from the philosophical perspective, from the sociological perspective, from the anthropological perspective, and from the psychological perspective. No? So there were so many perspectives, and I hope with all those perspectives, in some way or another, it had helped you in your conceptualization of self. What is self for you? And then you'll be able to understand what is self. No, in those perspectives, no, and what perspective do you think is a very which you believe it's that convinces you, no? Like the philosophical perspective in which there is body and soul, substance and accidents, anthropological perspective when there is a personal identity and collective identity and all. Now we're done with that. No, that's our first module. This time around, we go to the self. No? Let us try to unpack the self. No? What's within the self? So first, uh, after knowing some necessary theoretical foundations of the self in the previous module, this module you will learn to evaluate ourselves according to the following aspects of the self. Okay, so expected that in this module there are 6 lessons, and the different topics of this module are geared towards the discussion of these 6 concepts. Okay. First, we will be discussing, and specifically today, we will be discussing the physical and the extended self. And then on next meeting, we will discuss the sexual self. Then next, material economic self. Then the spiritual self. Then the political self. Then the digital self. So these are the selves that we will be discussing. It could be by the mere look at it, it seems to be there are so many persons having these different selves, no? But actually, this is only one self. That's you, no, yourself, myself, ourselves. No, but our self can be unpacked into several selves. Seeing the self from different angles, you will examine yourself more deeply concerning the internal and external factors that influence you as an individual. With a critical outlook, this module will hope that you will develop a better appreciation of yourself and embrace the diversity of identities, expressions, and beliefs of other people in the modern world. No? So, siguro we might ask ourselves, what are the different aspects of me? Sige daw. Ask yourself, unsa may mga different aspects sa imong self? Ha? Sige, I'll give you 10 seconds to somehow reflect. What are the different aspects of you? One, two, three, four. So first is we go to the physical and the extended self. In this lesson, you will learn to see yourself profoundly as a tangible being. So, meaning, when you say tangible being, it's a being makitaan, magunitan, tangible, no? Physical. No? Dili siya spiritual. Okay, kung ganin ka og spiritual, it's no longer tangible, it's intangible. From your physical body to the things you own, to people around, and to the socio-cultural forces which shape your ideals about your physical self. We have a physical self. That's something we can see. That's something we take care of. However, this physical self also has so many aspects na pwede po natong himay-himayon. No? So, At the end of this lesson, you should be able to discern the different aspects of physical self, both the body, our body, and the what we call our extended self. Be able to develop respect for people belonging to minority groups with different physical mandates. Um, Other people, no, whose physical characteristics might be different from us. With this lesson, we can be able to understand them, and then understand the importance of culture vis-a-vis physical characteristics. No? How does culture shape our physical characteristics? No? Yun sa ta. Okay. Now, as motivation, look at the pictures in your module. You have four pictures. Now, without even looking at the description, automatically we will recognize who these people are. So first, kanang kinsa man jay sa tibuok history, no, kinsa may naingan na og mustache, why lain, no? Adolf Hitler. No, that's why when we try to portray Adolf Hitler kana sa ato ang mga role play nagmustache ra ka ana dire wa na sulbad na, no, Adolf Hitler na. And then you also have their Ann Curtis, no, iya ka kunong lips, char. Then you have their Kobe Bryant, no? Ilhan yun as Kobe Bryant, he is known for his basketball prowess, no, basketball skills. And then you have here Upaw nga nanag eyeglass, yeah, limpyog naong kuya mo story aboy abunda na na wala na na yay Upaw gani wa ka mga eyeglass aboy abunda na. Okay, so now silang upat, if you look at it, no, the four of them, they have a distinct physical characteristic, no, nga makuan dayon once you speak of the physical characteristic automatically ato na point nga sila, no? The question is, how about you? How about me? How about us? What prominent physical feature do we have that would associate with your identity? Nindot mo tumingon nga, si Kuan, gwapo. Katang ko ito bang gwapo? Okay ra, so, katong bungi, katong akong mata, katong, ana, no, lahi. So, depende, no? We have prominent physical features. Mo ni atong kasagaran nga gihimo nga timailhan, no, or ilhanan nga kita na. Remember those instances, no, when someone identifies a person based on their description, no, like this scene. Kinsa ganing to si Juan? Si Juan ba katubang ko anong ilong katong sorry buho, no? Si Juan ba nga katong hilot ang dunggan, no? Usually defect or it's either the defect or a nindot nga characteristic sa usa ka tawo usually ang ato ang mahinumduman, no? Sagaran mahinumduman ang mga kantsaw. Okay. So moving on, our self is impacted by our body. Now, according to Anthony Giddens, there are several aspects of the body with particular significance to self and self-identity. No? So nakunoy tulo how the self is impacted by the body. First, you have bodily appearance. How you appear. Si purma nimo, that's bodily appearance. And then you also have demeanor. And then you have sensuality. Kining tulo. So atong usa-usahon, first is bodily appearance. It refers to what is seen by other people like the physical or biological surface of a person's body, no? The apparels, kaya itong sinuotan, how we bring ourselves, no? How a person clothes. Usually, ang kaning ato ang mga bodily appearance, maapekto kung saon na to pagsuot ato ang mga atong choices sa ato ang sinina, no? And these are moapekto ni sa atong bodily appearance, no? However, uh, our clothes is usually also affected by culture and socioeconomic status and policies or laws norms, no? For example, if you attend a wedding ceremony, this was the mag short ra ka, no? You have to wear in depende kung unsa yung motif, no, kung mingon nga Filipiniana, you have to wear the barong Tagalog or the Maria Clara, no, depende na the gown, Filipiniana gown, No? So if you go inside the classroom, you don't wear something inappropriate like mag-brave ka, but you have to follow the dress code of the school. No? In our case, in VSU, we do not have any dress code, no? As long as nakagisuot. Pero kita ba kung kag nisuot diri pod sa VSU nga nag-brave ra o nagpantira, no? Wa punta kita ana, no? Kay at least nagyapon tay murag gisunod, no? At least makatarunganon pod ang atong gisuot, no? Makatarunganon pod. Second is you have what we also call demeanor, no? Demeanor refers to the portrayal of a specific behavior in a particular setting. Na ni kasagaran atong behavior. Usually the behavior is portrayed and is shaped, no, by the perceived social demands of what the person is currently involved in. For example, example, you know, you can pick up your kugmo when you are at home, but you should not do that when your camera is on during online class. Otherwise, your classmates or even your professors might make fun of you. No? Ana, no? So, imuhaning behavior, no? How you portray yourself. And then lastly, you also have body sensuality. Now, this refers to an individual's consistency in the process of his or her senses under circumstances. No? So, example, uh, atong sundan nila example, no? Imagine you have this favorite shirt. After Christmas season, you notice it feels tight on the stomach. No? Then someone comments na mura makag budbud nga giputos. No? So both ang discomfort nga imong na feel sa imong self nga naghuot ng imong tiyan and ang sulti pod sa ubang tao, no, may determine unsa na po imong isuot sunod. No? The feedback that you heard, no, might actually determine the way you will present yourself in the future. No? So Sheffer 2013 also illustrated how an individual becomes deviant because of appearances. No? So, tungod sa appearance panagsa, we become deviant. Hmm. Ah, di na ta magpalayo og example, no? Ako usually sa una, naay dito pa ko sa LSU, na uniform and very strict yun ang magsuot og uniform, but seldom you will see me wearing the uniform. So by not wearing the uniform alone, deviant na ko. No? Because there is a general expectation nga tanan mag uniform nga ikaw wa unsa mo siya nga di man tuo, no? Lahi man. No, that's being deviant, no? Nagpalahi. Now, according to Schaeffer, the general expectations about beauty may prevent people who are considered deviant from advancing in their careers. Panagsa, judgmental man ta, no? Bulahi ra ganin kailangan di siya mutuman giingnan og mag uniform, mag uniform. No? Something like that. So this is usually what we call our um, bodily, no, self. No? Then we have our extended self. So you have there ganina, no, ang ato ang physical self, atong bodily self. This time around, atong bodily atong lawas tanan nga naa diri pilit sa atong lawas. No, but lahi pud ang extended self. No? Yung sa extended, mao ni ang atong lawas, for example kini atong porma mao ni ang uh, naa extended mugawas, no, mugawas. So Russell Belk say that the self does not only refers to his body and his mind, but also to everything else attached to both physically and socially. No, so yung extended family, that includes your family, friends, works, lands, money. No, all these things are aspects of what you may consider as part of yourself, since they are emotionally associated with you. So tanan nga na associated nimo is called extended self. Imagine when you own a shirt or pair of shoes that has been one of your favorite things to wear as you have also had it for years. Losing it would somehow affect you emotionally. Same is true, no? Kung we lose people from our lives, higla magita gamati ang tag-iro, no? Higla magita gamati ang tag-iro, no? Or a loss of somebody, or a pet, eh, a loss of a friend, no? No, because sakitan ta because these are part of our extended self. panagsa tanawa ko sumbagon ta body bodily self na to sakitan ta physical self sakitan ta pero panagsa bisag dili kita sumbagon ato ang anak may sumbagon ato ang asawa may binuangan sakitan ta because these are part of what we call extended self, you know, extended self. So Belks says that possessions are essential components for us to create a sense of self because it is a direct form of evidence in how you perceive yourself. Losing possessions also diminishes our sense of self, no? And possessions are treated ritually. So meaning, natin mga possession usually part of the extended self. Kuhaon ganing na sakitan ta. Kanang isa, no? Kuan ta, maluya ta. Example natin yung cellphone niya. Mahal kay cellphone na to, niya human. Kinahanglan na to ibaligya, no? Kaya na nang kinahanglan. Sakitan ta. Ug mawa na siya. Because it has been a part of ourself. Klaro na, cellphone is an extended self. Sagaran ron, labi na mga batanon. Most 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 of us when we go out di pwede nga mawa ang cellphone. Okay. So to understand the points in the previous paragraph better, no, imagine yourself possessing the latest smartphone model. So mo na niya ko example ganina, no? Your friends keep saying sana all na ay iPhone, no? iPhone nga 1000, no? You treasure your phone the same way your father takes care of his fighting cocks, no? Kanang mga sugarol nga mga amahan, no? Na mga manok, no? Basta kana ako if ever if it's about chickens, no? It's about cocks. Kung ano dyan na ako, ano ba ng manok? Pagkaon. Padung ra ginas kaha, no? But in terms of fighting cocks, no? Lahi ng mga fighting cocks, no? During the time that you have lost your phone, no, you felt extreme discomfort, no? As if a part of you is missing. You cannot text, call, because it has become a part of you, no? Mo na atong gitawag class og extended self. Dili na wa sa ato ang body, but since it is associated with us, ato siyang possession, or naatay connection ana, it becomes an extended self, no? Ato na siyang extended self. Mo na kung unsa may tabo sa atong extended self, bisan og we are not directly being assaulted, most of the time sakitan pud ta, no? Bisan ganig ang ato amigo pasakitan, suko mo kita dayon labi nag close na to amigo, samot nag-uyab. Nese, alams na this. Okay? So mo na siya ang extended self, no? The self does not only refer to what is perceived as me, but the self also refer to what we constitute as mine. Okay? Mo na magtawagay mo mine. May mag-uyab, usually mutawag og mine. Mine tungod kay ang imong uyab becomes your extended self. No? Part na siya nimo. Mo na mine char. As mentioned before, the extended self is not only limited to objects external to the persons and possessions reflective of one's personality, but also extends to people, places, and group possessions. No? So, example would be an individual spouse, ng banay, asawa, ng best friend, napod tayo mga secret spaces, no? Mga lugar nga adto ta, atong relax. No? At we consider these places as possessions, no? As an extended part of ourselves. Losing them would have the same emotional effect as losing certain parts of our bodies. No? Dili kita gisumbag, pero gisumbag ato ang asawa o atong uyab. Mura pud ta gisumbag, mo nang masuko ta kay ang atong extended self mo ay na appeal, no? Naigo. Ingana na siya class, no? Now, as we move forward, um, we also have what we call impact of culture on body image and self-esteem. Meaning, kung unsa itong porma, unsa itong sinuotan, unsa ito ang batasan, how we bring ourselves, and what are the people, what are the things that we regard as an extended self, usually is part, no, is an impact of our culture. No? So, based on the work of Anderson Fay, 1998, now there are four areas of inquiry on human appearance in anthropology. First, there is diversity of physical appearance. No? Nagkalahi-lahi atong physical appearance. No? So, example, kadto mga tao nga dito dapit sa desierto, mga tao nga ilahang lugar sa mga init nga lugar, don't expect them to be white. No? Init yun na, itom. No? Darker skin tungod kay mas naa sila sa sun. Pero katong mga tao nga tuwa nagpuyo dito sa Alaska, of course, di na sila pwedeng mo ito. Kasagaran nila puti, no? Ako, for example, nga taga-dagat, ay mo pa expect nga puti. Kay pag work from home na times nga manguha ra mi og sea urchin, no? Manguhag to jom sea urchin nya man kaunon niya. Init kayo. Tawagod ako sa bahay para pakaon, no? Kumanang na ito mas na akong ilong yung sunburn, no? Kung sunburn gani mo ilong, usara pa pasabot ana. It's either taas kang ilong kayo or lapad pod, no, kay naabtan man sa just adlaw bitaw. So one no, first is diversity of physical appearance, no. Next is you also have what we call cultural art practices. This is how you present yourself according to your culture. Say for example, if you live, if you come from a conservative community, most likely imong sinuotan pod, imong body image conservative, no. Kung gikan ka sa mga sa pamilya, for example, nga hilig sila og mga artist, mga tattoo, naa po kay tattoo, no? Depende na, no? Kung unsa ta, it's actually a reflection of our culture. No? In some communities, no, body adornment or modification does not only exist for aesthetic purposes but also for social status. So, kung makabantay mo ang mga social status na ng uban kanang mao ni sinuotan, no, sa sinuotan sa kung dapat na ka sa royal family, no. So unsa po imuhang mga nilihukan dapat na po kay murag graces, no, mabuto ng social graces, mabuto ng if you have seen movies, no, nga mga um, gikan sa gikan sa low status unya nahimo nga prince, prinsipe nahimo kanto mga salida sa una sa mga babae nga kuan da ilang papa hari di ay, no, and then they are being taught to how to act in public, but most of the time when they want to be to act nga sila sa ilang pagkasila, di nila subayon kung unsay gitudlo nila, no, because mobalik sila ngadto sa kung unsa gyud ang ilahang naandan, no. That is how culture, no, affects our practices, how we present ourselves. Another is beauty ideals. Now, there are specific standards of beauty. No, as we say, beauty is subjective. It varies from one culture to another. No, like for example, the Japanese people do not like. Di na sila kay ma-attract og mga inchik og mata kay kasagaran na tan-aw puro man ng inchik at kung sila mga lurat og mata, no. But kita nga mga lurat og mata ganahan pud mga chinito, no, kanuhay, no. Now these are there are specific standards of beauty, no. For example, in tribal societies na yung mga practices like uh, the Kayan tribe in Myanmar, they wear neck rings, no? Para sa ila, mas taas og liog, mas daghan og neck rings, mas gwapa. The longer the neck looks, the higher is the chance of a woman to get married to someone the same tribe, meaning mas gwapa kung taas og liog. Manang mas daghan sila neck rings. Some communities in Africa, like the Morsi tribe, install lip plates to symbolize strength. Katong dire. Nidagko diri ana. Uh, symbolize strength and self-esteem, no. So kung naa ka ana, mas naka po mo self-esteem. Okay. You feel pud nimo nga kusgan ka imong kanagog ka ana nga symbol, no. The symbols they attach to these practices are related to their general ideas of beauty, no. So para nila kanang ana mga kuan is that's beauty. And because mo na beauty, dapat kung ikaw sa dakong tao sa inyong community, naapod na nimo nga beauty, di ba? So like for example, no, in the prehistoric Visayans, we also have a different set of beauty ideals. No, during the archaeological dig in San Remigio, Cebu, no, silang Sir Jobers mo din no. The research team found teeth separated from the skeletal remains on excavated burial site. The discovered tooth artifacts have intricate gold designs symbolizing social status. No, so our prehistoric ancestors went to great lengths by extracting their tooth, decorate them, install them back to their mouth in order to look good to their community. So imagine, ang tangon ng ngipon, kasakit ito niyaman, butangan o gold, ibalik. Imagine, sakit ang ngipon, no? Pero but, di na sakit, no? It's sakit na, no? But since, tiis ganda, no? Kung mo nag-ingon pa nila nga, tiis ganda, no? Beauty ideals, no? Mabutang na ron, tiis ganda, taas ang ilong, pausab sa apting, bis nga, ay, ano to, padakon. No na siya gitawag og tiis ganda, no? Beauty ideals. And sometimes, beauty ideals also vary, no? Depends on what culture you're in. No? Sa nga culture yung gikanan. So we also have what we call collective identity through appearance. This is the fourth one. Um, this indicates the sameness of tangible representation among a certain group. No, so ang appearance usually, since you came from one culture, pareha pud mo appearance tanan. Pareha pud mo appearance tanan. The physical characteristics such as skin color, hair, tattoos, etc. na indicate membership with a distinct group. Kung ikaw kung gikan mo sa, for example, you all came from the Manubo tribe nga dark skin, curly hair. Kita ganing ka din og mestizo, murag that is something, no? That is so physical appearance has often been viewed as symbolic, no? Meaning symbols, no? The ideas attached to specific physical traits vary among different societies. Yeah? So usually naayo tayo gitawag nga collective identity, no? Pareha ta, no? So what other countries would consider extreme, other culture would consider extreme, might not be extreme for others. Pero this collective identity through appearance, we share. For example, the Philippine and South Korean societies perceive the idea of cosmetic surgery differently. The Philippines, people who undergo this procedure, like recently Janine Birdie, no, might receive public outcry for being unnatural in South Korea. There is less stigma as this practice is common among celebrities, no? So accepted siya, no? So normal ra ang surgery. Another example is in Africa and Southeast Asia and Middle East, no? Female practice genital mutilation, commonly known as female circumcision, no, because of religious beliefs. So sila pud tanan ana, no? Sila pud tanan. Now, have you noticed that most of the main characters in television shows, movies, and music artists are better looking? No? So karon niabot na pud sa punto because of globalization. We have what we call the commodification of beauty. No? This is the time when mura na og nahimo na nga produkto ang beauty. No? That's why sa television, mga artista, kita ta mga gwapo dyan na gwapa. No? The social transformations of democracy and capitalism has brought about the importance of physical appearance in the recent age, both socially and emotionally. Mo nang halos na to tanan ron, gusto to nga gwapo ta o gusto po ta nga gwapa ta because that is what we see in television. No? Mo na ito ang concept sa gwapo, mo na itong concept sa gwapa. Atong television ron, pakita, basta gwapo gani, kinalan puti, kinalan buhok taas, no? So, we too, mo pa itong sundon, no? Kinalan po nga, puti ta, halag, gamit itong kujisan, no? Pagwapo na, sa parang glutatayon, imnon, injection, operahan, tanan na lang mo ito para maputi. Because our culture's concept of beauty is kung puti ka, gwapo ka, gwapa ka. Now, as globalization became widespread, dominant cultures have influenced people from different parts of the world with their own standards of beauty. Sometimes, because of their economic and cultural dominance in a globalized world, their physical traits like whiteness have been institutionalized as part of the Filipino cultural norms. No, that's true. No, whiteness. Manot ako yung ganina, no? This resulted in burgeoning imports of cosmetic products, palit na ta, no? Korean na ta, no? Atong mata sa unang adakong mata, inchik-inchik. Operahan na to. because mano na itong concept of beauty, no? Pinakasikat ana si Sanderford, no? Iyang gi-bleach ang iyang skin and restructure his nose similar to that of the Caucasian, no? So mao ni ang ato ang atong self. So you have here examples of what we have been talking, no? You have here modern fashion, no? Mao ni African lip plate, kaya neck rings, then cosmetic surgery, no? Like kay nahong, no? Diferensya kayo. No? So part and parcel of our external self are the physical traits that we have. No? And they include constructs such as attractiveness and even health for that matter. And since these ideas are highly influenced by culture and other external factors, such as the environment, it consequently affects the meanings we attach to our possessions. So, moto siya class, no? Moto siya ang ato ang parte sa ato ang self o ang ato physical self o sa ato ang extended self. Okay? So, here, for your learning task, I want you to answer this learning task here in your book, in the guide. But instead of drawing, I want you to just describe. You don't need to draw a simple sketch about a physical feature you have that represents your culture, but instead of drawing, you describe it, no, in words. Kaya ba ko, not all of us are gifted with drawing, no? But if you know how to draw, it's very much welcome also. And for the assessment, you answer also this assessment found in the learning guide. Write a paragraph not more than 10 sentences answering the question, who am I? Using the concepts of the physical self. So that includes your extended self. Do not write a simple biodata or a chronological narrative of your life. Instead, use one of more concepts discussed in this lesson. So be guided with these following questions. What physical feature do you have that you are most recognizable of? Dakugmata. What things do you most consider to be part of your extended self? No? How consistent are the traits you find attractive to your immediate culture? How does your society's standard of beauty affect how you see yourself right now? What are some of the specific realizations you have discovered about yourself in the aspect of your physicality after having read the discussions? Okay, so you have here the learning task, and you also have the assessment. Okay, so everything else is just the same. You will submit all of this, the learning task and the assessment, in the Google Classroom. No? I will open a link so that you can just submit it there. Okay, so I think that's about all for today, and you do the learning task and the assessment. Okay. Bye everyone. Ciao.